Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Rabbi Isai, here we go. Lamentes on base, all the way in the top. Shchata, 6 lines from the top. Shchata, ve'achik achishav aleh. A person shechs, doesn't say anything, doesn't make any indication that it's avodah zarah. And then afterwards, he thought about avodah zarah, and the question is, did he think avodah zarah thoughts during the shechita? Zehaya ma'isa beKesari. This was the ma'isa in Caesarea. They didn't paskin. What should we do? In the Mishnah it says the Rabbanon say that we're not concerned for the machshava of the owner, the guy. If a Jew does shchita, perhaps the guy inserted his machshava of it. We're not concerned. So therefore, I can't say that it's also because I'm not concerned. Loheter mishum kvoidei de Rabbi Eliezer, and also we have the reverse. We have Rabbi Eliezer in the Mishnah that says that stam machshava of a guy is favodah zar. So the Gemara, what's the connection? What's the two different cases? Dilmat kan lekamera banon hasam in our Mishnah. We never heard a word from the guy about avodah zarah. We don't know if he's an avodah zarah or not. Aval hacha the shamana the chashiv. By the zrika we heard him say that he wants to do zrika for avodah zarah. Isn't this? It's obvious that if he's thinking about avodah zarah all the way by the zrika, so he obviously had this thought of avodah zarah in the beginning by shchita. Inami. Or you could say, in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says that of course he was talking about avodah zarah because you're talking about a non-Jew, idol worshiper. The stam because the typical idol worshiper is thinking about avodah zarah. So Mela, I'm going to insert his machshava into the shechita. Ava Yisrael over here, the guy's Jewish. Maybe he became a not goodnik guy. He became an avodah zarahnik all the way at the end. But he wasn't. By the shechita, he was not a mummer. Oh, I'm going to find a soifoi moichiach atchilasoi from somebody completely different. Reb Shimon Gamliel. And in order to understand which Reb Shimon Gamliel, we're going to go through two and gishmakas sugyas. Again, a person shechted, a Jew. At the end, he said it's l'shem avodah zarah. Did he mean this all the way in the beginning when he shechted? And you can see from Reb Shimon Gamliel that you say if you find something out at the end, it indicates what his thought process was in the beginning. Hey, Reb Shimon Gamliel, which one is it? Eli Reb Shimon Gamliel the Gitin. We find this by the get. Famous story in Mesechtas Gitin. It's not. Habari sha'amar kisvu get li ishti. Somebody who was healthy. He's not showing any signs of disease. He's a regular healthy guy. And he says, write a get to my wife. What's missing here in this lashon? He doesn't say tnu. He doesn't say give. He says write. And they go ahead and they write. They even give. No, not a good get. Rotza l'sachik ba. He's playing games with her. He's joking around. She's begging for a get. Why is she begging for a get? Because she had her brother-in-law over for a Shabbos meal, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. The guy hasn't showered in 3-4 weeks. He's socially off. He's not what she's looking for. And she's worried. She's very worried. She's worried this guy, her husband is going to die. And look what's going to happen. It's going to be a disaster. So she begs her husband for a get. So he says, she talks so much, she begs so much, as Rashi. She keeps on talking. He said, get off my back. Here, I'm going to, kiss you, write a get for my wife. Sometimes the husband plays games. It's a good game. You want a divorce? Yeah, I'll give you a divorce. Baruch Hashem, I'm getting a divorce. No. Joking around. There's a story. Listen to the story. Terrible story. He tells the Edom, he says, go ahead and write a get for my wife. And they gave it to her. They listened. Va'ala lagag, he goes up to the roof, v'nofal v'meis, and he dies. Oh, here it's coming. Oh, Rav Shimon Gamliel, let's understand what happened. What's the story? And based on what happened with this fall, we will know that 2 days ago when he said Kisvu get lishti, was he serious or was he joking? And that's a case of soifay mitchilachat chilasay. From the end of the story, let's see the entire story, and by the end, we could understand his thought process. Rav Shimon Gamliel, imatz moinofal.
Before he died.
They gave it before he died. I said they gave it. Yeah, they gave it, and then va'ala lagag v'nofal v'meis. You can't give a get after you die, right? That's 100%. It doesn't. Adam cannot give. So says the Gemara, imatz min nofal. If he jumped off the roof, harei a get. Then it's obvious. Why did he tell the Adam kisu get liishti, and he forgot to say the words tenu, because he was planning something terrible. Ma'abadatz miladas v'maruach dochatoi in a get. But if some other thing happened, you could tell that he didn't jump. He fell off by mistake, then it's a get. Sorry, it's not a get because obviously he didn't want to divorce his wife. He didn't want to die. He had no reason. So why did he say nu get, kisu get? He wanted to keep her quiet, stop begging for a get. My solicitor, what are you giving me a story of a guy that fell off a roof, and that's a contradiction to what we said before. Because before we said that if a person says, write a get to my wife, and he didn't say the word tnu, it's not a get, and it doesn't say over there, oh, well, it depends if he committed suicide or not. It doesn't say where it depends. It's not a get, finished. So the Gemara says, Chesuri Mechsera, it's obvious what was going on over there. It depends. If there's a clear indication at the end of the story what this individual was intending, did he really mean for a get, then it's a good get. And I'll even prove it to you from a story. When the Gemara says Chesuri Mechser, it doesn't mean that literally words are missing. It just means those who understand. And for the guys that need a little help and explanations, I'll explain it to you. It's obvious when I say a story like that, at the end, I'm not coming to contradict myself. I'm coming to explain myself. And I'm adding another caveat. Is that a word?
Yeah, good.
There's another little piece over here that's missing. There's another
layer.
It's like a footnote in the art scroll.
Oh, like a footnote in the art scroll that you should have understood by yourself. Gewaldig. That what? If this was intended, you see that the guy had a very serious plan here. There's a cheshbon here. Get on Sunday, jump off the roof on Monday. It goes together. So the jumping off the roof has to do with writing the get. If he jumped, it's a get. In a get. Says the Gemara, what's the raya from this case? The end shows what his intent was in the beginning is different than our case. What happened in our case? The guy was quiet during the shechita, and by the zrika, step 2, all of a sudden he starts talking about the zara. And we want to know, did he mean that also by the shechita? Over here it's different. Over here a guy says, write a get to my wife. Now you're saying that he didn't really mean it. He was faking, he was joking. But he did step 2, and from step 2 you see he wasn't joking. Okay, but there was a step 1. Step 2 and step 1 go together. Over here, he never said anything. You don't know what he meant. And just because there was an indication, he started talking about Avodah Zarah in step 2, doesn't mean that he meant that in step 1. You're right, okay, fine. We're moving on. It's another Rav Gamliel. The Sanya. A guy is about to die, even not about to die, but let's say he's dying, even a Masukah. So he's getting ready. He's how do they say it? Taking care of business. Like he's organizing. He's organizing his affairs. Exactly, mamish like that. Organizing his affairs before he goes. So he says, I want to give Reuven all my slaves. Reuven says, I don't want slaves. I already had a slave. It was a terrible experience. I don't want a slave. If this Reuven guy, the receiver, if he's a kohen, too bad on Reuven. he gets the slave. Not only that, the slave starts eating truma like a kohen. We have to understand why. The Gemara is going to explain. There's no such thing. If Reuven says, I don't want a slave, so he doesn't get a slave. The guy taking care of his affairs and he dies, so the Yerush gets it. Or if he didn't die, he himself keeps it. But we ask the question, I don't understand. If Reuven says, I don't want a slave, you could force him to take your slave? No way. You're right. If he's screaming, I don't want it, there's no way you can force him to have it. If he's quiet and then he starts screaming, there's something called if I try to acquire a Lamborghini for you, it becomes yours. If 10 minutes later you say you don't want it, it's too bad, it became yours, because a normal person would want something like a slave. Keep ligi. It's too fancy for me. But you can sell it. Keep ligi. The acher. So he tells Shimon, I want you to acquire the slave for Reuven. And Reuven is standing right there watching this whole thing. V'shasak, and he's quiet. And then he starts screaming. That's what it says? Okay. When the star comes, that makes sense. When the star comes, then he starts screaming. Tanakama says, wait, why was he quiet? The first 5 minutes he was quiet. Obviously, he wanted it then. Now, later on, he started screaming. So then, afterwards, he had a charata. So this is the Rav Shimon Gamliel that says that you can see from the end what his intent was in the beginning. That what? He didn't want it. You see, he didn't want it, and he didn't want it in the beginning. So what's Pshat? He didn't scream in the beginning. What's the point of screaming and stop making a commotion? When it becomes mine, I get the star. Then I'm going to make a macha. Sakapanim now sugi also. When a person shechs, and then afterwards he does zrika. So from the fact that he started screaming Avodah Zarah in the end, it's obvious what he meant in the beginning. It was Avodah Zarah. Okay, end of that. Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel halacha ki Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi says that an owner cannot insert his thought of Avodah Zarah into the shechita, not in the Beis Hamikdash, not outside of the Beis Hamikdash. If an owner wants to make a pigul, it doesn't work. It's only the kohen. So that's the end of the story. That's what we paskin. Says the Gemara, Ma'aseh Shahaya, Hanu Tayyai, the Asul Tzikuna. There were these Arabs that came to Tzikunya. Yovdichel Tabacha Yisrael. They come in with animals, and they tell the Shoiched, they say, here, take these animals. We only want the parts that are for Avodah Zarah. We want the blood, we want the fats. We want to put it on give it to Avodah Zarah. Mashcho bisra, but the hides and the meat, the good stuff, liditchu, you take it. So now we have a problem of Avodah Zarah. It's their animal. We even had in the Mishnah, Rebbe Eliezer, who was it? Rebbe Eliezer, I think it was, says even if the guy owns a small part, like the diaphragm, the skirt steak, that's enough to ruin it. It's Avodah Zarah. He's a partner. Over here, he owns 100%. And he's going and he's giving to the Jew. He says, you Jew, you do everything. Chop it up, just give me the fat and the blood, and the rest is yours. I'm going to put the rest for Avodah Zarah. Could the Jew eat it? Based on what we just said, the halach is like Rabbi Yosi, that the owner cannot insert his machshava of Avodah Zarah into an animal. A live animal cannot be Avodah Zarah. That, if a Jew has a live animal, says, Shepsela, you're Avodah Zarah, nothing. The only time a Jew can insert the Avodah Zarah is during the Shechita. I'm shoychev Avodah Zarah, then Zivchei Mesim. The owner of the guy can't say that this sheep of his is Avodah Zarah. It doesn't work. Elamai, he's relying on the Jew to do the Shechita, and when the Jew is doing the Shechita, the Ishmael is going to say, oh, Avodah Zarah, Avodah Zarah, Avodah Zarah. Everybody says it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, then I have a kosher Shechita here, and I can use the animal. Mimela, Shalcha Rav Toivi by Rav Masna l'Kamed Rav Yosef. They asked Rav Yosef, Kagavnamai, what's the story here? Shalach Leis, he sent back. This is what Shmuel said. Halacha Rav Yosi. The halacha is that the guy cannot insert his machshava, and therefore it's a kosher shchita. Okay, so that's the end of that story. So Ravacha tells Ravashi, time in the Gemara, we see it a few times, that a person owned an animal. It wasn't like today, you come to the store and you have ready-made steaks, I want that piece, I want that piece. There was an animal in the shtetl, and everybody gave a little bit of money towards the animal, and then he shechted it and you got your piece. So a non-Jew goes ahead and he gives money to the butcher. He gives money to the butcher. He says, I want a piece. I want that steak. Does his money become a partnership? If he's a partner, according to Rebbe Eliezer, we're talking about in the Mishnah. Rebbe Eliezer says even if he owns a small, tiny piece of the animal, like the diaphragm, that's enough to ruin the whole animal. Over here, he didn't own a piece. He gave money towards a piece. Is that considered a partnership or not? Yeah, pretty much. It's a new chiddush in Hilchos Kinyanim here. I need to take a look. I need to see. If he's a tough guy, then what? That you can't give back the money's stuck by you, then you're stuck. If you can't get out of it, and the money, he already paid for it, he was kind of like Bekesef, now he has a kinyan in it. You can't push him off also. If he's a Nebuch, little guy with broken glasses, he's a garnished, a flimsy guy, all you do is Reishach Vahar. You see that mountain? You see your head? Take the two and knock them into each other. That's the lashon. Go bang your head in the wall. Hashoicha l'shem harim, l'shem gevayis. This is machlokes what a har and what gevaya is. Is gevaya more higher than a mountain? A lot of people say that gevayis are the highest mountains in the world. The Vilna Gaon says gevayis is man-made, so it's probably smaller than harim. L'shem yamim. A person does have a desire to the oceans, l'shem naharais, to the rivers, l'shem idbarais, to the deserts. Shchitasei psula. So if you look at the word shchitasei psula, usually it says there's an isur hana. You're not allowed to benefit. Psula means you're just not allowed to eat this meat. The shchita was done for the mountain. You're not allowed to eat the meat. So we have to understand why is it not severe like a isur hana, like a regular shchita for avodah zarah. Two people holding onto a knife, something like this. The guy on the right is a goy gomer. Well, no, he's not a goy gomer. He's a goy. He's a shvacha goy. He's not a believer. What is he thinking in his mind when he's shechting? Avodah zarah. The guy on the left is a shoichet. He's thinking the right thing. The guy on the right can ruin it. One of them is thinking to the mountains, to the rivers. And the other one is thinking for the proper shchita. Shchita psula. One could ruin it for the other. Obviously, if they're both holding two different knives, then the guy shechting l'shem avodah zarah is going to win. But even if he's holding the knife with someone else, the guy that's doing it for kosher doesn't override the guy that's doing it for pasul and it's pasul. What?
Even if he could do it on his own.
Yeah, because I'm helping you and I'm inserting the avodah zarah in there. Psula in Zivchei Meisim Loi, it seems like from the Mishnah, you're only also to eat it, but you're not also bahana. You could benefit from it. Beramini, I don't understand. It says mamish mefurish, the opposite. Hashoicha l'shum harim, l'shum gvais, literally like our Mishnah, l'shum naharais, l'shum idbarais, l'shum chamal levana. This is a little different. If you want, you can look in Taisus over here on the side. Taisus brings the sheet, there's Machlekes Rashi and Taisvus. If the chamal levana are like attached to the galgal, whatever that means, that they're independent. Taisus goes in to say that just interesting stuff, that the sun has 12 malachim in charge of it. Okay? Says the Gemara, the Mishnah. Oh, no, we're in the Gemara. Person worships a star or a mazel. How do you say mazel in English? Constellation. Lishum Michal Asara Gadol. Oh, so this is the largest thing in the world. This is Michal, the Malach Michal, in charge of the Jews. Asara Gadol. Lishum Shilshul Akatan. Shilshul is a worm. Here's shilshul katan. Harei lezivchei meisim. So what? Oh, after all this, if you shecht for a mountain, for this, or for mechal, or for a small little worm, it's zivchei meisim. What's zivchei meisim? Asur bahana. So why does our Mishnah say it's not asur bahana? It's only asur to eat. Omar abayli kashu. Hod omar lahar. Hod omar legad dahar. When you're talking to the mountain, we learned in Avodah Zarah, Lehem alaharim, that it's only their gods on the mountain, but not the mountain itself. You can't worship a mountain. But if you're worshiping the God of the mountain, not the God of the mountain, the Malach of the mountain, that's something else. The Torah calls the Malach of the mountain, the Torah calls it the Lashon of Elikus. So that's a problem. But it's a Malach, I don't know. Yeah, but you're right, the Lehus. Probably a Lehus. Well, no, but it's a Lashon of a Lehus.
You can't ask her. You can't ask her.
Right, there's nothing to ask her. Dekenami, Dektani, Dumya de Mechol, Saragadol, Shmamino. That's why we stuck in here the idea of a Malach, Shmamino. Omer Avuna. Okay, so here we go, beautiful stuff. You have, again, I cannot, and this is today's sugya. Can I go ahead and grab my friend's clock and say, this is Avodah Zarah? It's not mine. Can I do that? No. I cannot take my friend's animal and say, this is Avodah Zarah. The animal's alive. Even my friend can't do it. But what if I take my friend's animal and shecht it for Avodah Zarah? Does it turn into Avodah Zarah? Yeah, I'll owe my friend an animal, but do I have the right to do it? Does a person ask for something that's not his? So we have two tremendous chidushim. Chidush number one, that I could make an animal Avodah Zarah. Chidush. Chidush number two, I can make my friend's animal Avodah Zarah. I can go into my friend's backyard without permission and destroy his favorite animal. Make it Avodah Zarah. How do I see it? So Rashi says, beautiful. You see, the Kohanim, they took all imagine a kli made out of gold. $100,000, $500, who knows how much something made out of gold, a kli made out of pure gold. From the Beis HaMikdash, they took it and they buried it. Why? Because Achaz worshipped it for Avodah Zarah, but it's not Achaz. It's public property. It's owned by the Beis HaMikdash. So you see that a person has the right to insert Avodah Zarah into somebody else's belongings. So I want you to remember this because we're going to be turning the page. It's going to be hard to go back and forth. We have Rav Huna that says that a person shechts an animal that's laying in front of Avodah Zarah, meaning you didn't have to lift him up, because if you lifted him up, maybe there's a kinyan. Not even without a kinyan, nothing. I go shecht its neck for Avodah Zarah. Kivin sheshacha bo simin echad asara. I probably didn't even read this. I did. I didn't. Mazla, I went back. Even though he shechted one out of the two simanim, which is not a shechita, that's it. And we're going to see in a second, like Ula, even though bowing to an animal is 0, but doing something negative in the animal, doing a maisa, and the Gemara is going to say it's a kol shehu, even a small little amount, that makes it also. So we have a combination of, it's not even a combination, it's explanation. Rav Huna says, you shecht your friend's animal, you make it Avodah Zarah. Says Zula, even if you do a little bit, one simon, says Rav Nachman, even less than one simon, a little nick, but you have to do a maisa. You can't just say or bow, you have to do something physical. Eiser Nachman Rav Huna, ask Rav Nachman Rav Huna, Hashoichin chatas b'Shabbos. If you shecht, it's a riddle. How's a person chayev 3 chatois for doing one action? The answer is, if I shecht on Shabbos, shechting is the Issa Deraisa because of Natilas Neshama. You're not allowed to kill something on Shabbos. Bachutz, you're taking a chatas and shechting it outside of the Beis HaMikdash. That's also Issa Deraisa, Karis, another Karis, second Karis, Chiyuv chatas. I shechted a chatas outside of the Beis HaMikdash. You're only allowed to shecht inside the Beis HaMikdash. L'Avodah Zarah, obviously I don't have to tell you that shechting an animal for Avodah Zarah is Issa Deraisa, it's Karis if you do it by mistake, it's a chatas if you do it by mistake. Chayev shalosh chatais. So let me ask you a question. Let's say a person takes his chatos and he shechs it on Shabbos for Avodah Zarah in Bet Shemesh. How many chatois is he chayiv? Huh? Anybody want to answer? Huh? What one? Okay, let me read again. Hashoichet chatos b'Shabbos b'achutz la'Avodah Zarah chayiv sholosh chatois. First shechs the chatos. He takes his chatos and shechs it outside of the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos for Avodah Zarah. He's chayiv 3 chatois. Okay, let's do this again. Rabbi Isai, if a person shechs a chatos on Shabbos outside of Beis Hamikdash for Avodah Zarah, how many chatois is he chayiv? Wrong. The answer is 4. Because he's chayiv the chatos that he just shechted. The Gemara says chayiv sholish chatois. He's chayiv 3. V'yaris kivin sheshocha bo simen echad asara. Listen to this bomb question. If all you do is shecht 1 simen, and that's enough to make it asur, ashchut chutz lo chayiv. How could I be chayiv on 3 things? As soon as I start shechting this animal, mechatech ba'afaru, I'm cutting dirt. What does that mean? I'm cutting dirt. Think about it. When I start shechting, as soon as I start shechting, that's Avodah Zarah. Once it's Avodah Zarah, the kachim, the gedusha of this animal flies away, says Rashi. It's paka. So then I never shechted a chatos outside of the Beis Hamikdash because it wasn't a chatos. By the time I got to the second siman, it's like shechting dirt. Over here, very good. We know the nafkamina between a chatas bird and an oila bird. A chatas bird, all you have to do is shecht 1 siman. So the Gemara tries to say that he shechted 1 out of the 2 simanim, and therefore all 3 things happen together simultaneously. The kulu b'hadei adadi gasi. You have the shchita, you have Avodah Zarah, you have Shabbos all in one shot. Mirdi Ravuna kiman amor l'shmaite kula asked the Gemara a simple question. We said already that Ravuna goes like, I said Rav Nachman before, Ravuna goes like Ula. And what does Ula say? Vula ma'isa koldu kamar. So we have a problem here. Ula says even a little nick in the neck. So you take a chatas of a bird, that all you have to do is 1 siman, you're right. But before you got to the 1 siman, as soon as you tap it with the knife, that's Avodah Zarah. And the shchita only happens when you get Rav Siman, which is a step later. By that time, it's no longer a chatos, it's already Avodah Zarah, poka, the kedusha, and he's shechting a piece of dirt. So for that we have to say that the riddle goes like this. He says specifically, I don't want to be Oved Avodah Zarah when I nick it in the beginning. I want to be Oved Avodah Zarah at the end of the shchita. And Memela, the Avodah Zarah, and the shchita will come simultaneously. He'll be over on Shabbos. He'll be over on Shchut Chutz. Ihachi, asked the Gemara, Ma'ir Chatos, L'shmi'inin Zevach. If we're talking about the end of the shchita, so the end of the shchita is no nafkamir between a shlomim and a chatos. If we're talking about the end, there's 0 nafkamina. When's the nafkamina? In the beginning. At the end, it could be, why does it take, you know the answer to my riddle? A chatos. No. The answer to the riddle is any carbon in the world. You take a shlomim, and I say, at the end of the shchita, it should be Avodah Zarah. So you have shchita, Shabbos, chutz, all in one shot. Why does it say chatos? Because only in a chatos there's an afkamina in the beginning. How could you answer me it happened at the end? It had to happen in the beginning, because only in the beginning is the difference. What's the difference? Because the chatos that's another question that we're going to see today. Hopefully we'll get there. Is a chatos considered yours? It's considered the Rebbeinu Shalom's. I bought it for my kapara. Is it mine or not mine? A shlomim is 100% yours. So what's an afkamina? It is. Since it's yours, so then a culture, a nick, changes its designation. But if it's not yours, a little tiny nick doesn't do anything. It's not yours. So that's why we say chatos, to show that it's in the beginning. It happened in the beginning when a nick makes the difference between a chatos and a shlomim. Ella ba'omer sorry. Ella omer zudim shmeder Rav Papa my skina can show you chatzi kone pogum. Check this out. The famous we learned this already. Here, look at this bird. This bird Nebuch is walking around with a split trachea. It's not considered a treifa because it's only 50%. You go ahead and take a knife and go from 50% to 51%. So at that moment, you made a shchita, you made Avodah Zarah, you mechal Shabbos, and you did the shchita b'chutz. That's the story here. V'hoisev olav kolshu gemari, finished it off. The kulu b'alei adali kasim. It all happened simultaneously. Says the Gemara, Omra Papa, Ilav Omra Ravuna Simen Echad, Lehave Chatas Tiyuftei. If the fact that Ravuna didn't mention the word Simen Echad, and we said that the pshat is like Ula, that he did a little bit, then we wouldn't have a question from Chatas, like I explained before. By Chatas, there's a nafkamina between. What was the question from Chatas? Why if you're saying Chatas, you say Shlamim? But that's only because he said Simen Echad. That since it's not his, the siman echad doesn't make a difference. The kosher doesn't make a difference. My Maisa, I would say, this question, what's an afghan between chatas and it should just say shlamim? I would say, my Maisa Rabbah. Not a kosher, it has to be a full thing. So a full means at the end of the shechita, so then there wouldn't be a difference between a chatas and a shlamim. Again, it's a good thing he mentioned a siman. It's a good thing he mentioned chaver, because once he says chaveroi, meaning, then I don't have a kasha. Why is there an afkamina between chatas and shlamim? Same thing that we said before. There's an afkamina, because if it's yours, your own, then there's a difference between a nick, it wouldn't make a difference. If it's your own, a small nick, even in a chatos, makes it yours. It makes it a shechita right away. The difference is, because it's not yours, it's your friend's. And since it's a chatos, you have to have a big maisa there. My taima, the day matzi asar, the chavrei matzi asar. Says Gemara, pshita. What's Rav Papa adding? I think it's a pretty big chiddush. Okay, pshita. Mal the same even the kind of the kapar the day damya. Since you brought this as a chatas, it's like yours. Kamash malon, and therefore what? If it's yours, even a little bit is enough. A little nick. Kamash malon, no. You need a big maisa. Okay, fine. So we'll stop here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.